Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Manny here once again. Welcome to another DFS Zone WNBA Fanduel lineup advice video. And before I continue with the video, guys, like always, man, I appreciate you drop a like. And if you have not subscribed as of yet to the channel, please do so down below. And do not forget to turn on those bell notifications. This way you do not miss any of my new uploads. With that being said, today is Wednesday, July 18th, 2018, and we have a two-game slate once again in the WNBA. And before I go on with the video, guys, I want to point out these games are early tomorrow again. First game at 12 noon, second game at 1 o'clock. So they're both matinees, they're early. So make sure you get your lineups in. Hopefully you have taken my advice in the past. I've mentioned that I normally just set up a lineup, choose 6 or 7 random players, whatever, 7 random players, and then just, pay up for 4 or 5 lineups or whatever. If I'm doing the $1 ones or the $3 ones, I do that as well. And then just take care of all the lineups in one shot with the same lineup. And then you can come back after you've done your research or you've listened to my videos or anybody else's videos, and you can make your analysis and make your decisions on what your lineups are going to be the very next day. At least you're in the tournament, the GPPs or cash plays, whatever you decide to play. But I would rather you make the effort and locking yourself in, because sometimes these things get filled pretty fast. All right, so if you want to be in it, you got to be in it. So make a lineup, do your lineups, and then basically pay for them, and then you come back and you analyze and you do all the things you need to do to make your lineups. All right, guys. Anyway, enough with that. So we got Seattle at Chicago today at 12 o'clock. Implied totals, I do have implied totals for this game. I do not have anything, at least that I didn't find, and it's 1 a.m. New York time right now. So I mean, I stood up pretty late watching the MLB All-Star game, which was really nice, and then of course looking at other sports news, and then I said it's time for me to come and do a video. But so anyway, so implied totals for this game, Seattle at Chicago, is 171.5 points, with Seattle visiting and favored by 8.5, which is quite understandable. Chicago has been playing really bad lately. But coming in, Seattle is 16-6. They're 16-6. They have played each other already 2 times already this year, and both games were won by Seattle. 96-85 in game 1. 95-91 in game 1, and 96-85 in game 2. Seattle is also coming in 4-1 over the course of their last 5 games, and they're 2-0 coming in on the road. They haven't lost in their last 2 outings on the road. They also are second in points right now in the league at 87 points per game. They're 7th in pace. They're averaging about 80 possessions per game. First in field goal percentage at 46.7%. 6th in three-point percentage at 34.9, pretty much 35%. They are 6th in rebounding at 35.5 rebounds per game. They're 1st in assists at pretty much 21 assists per game. 2nd in steals at 7.6 steals per game. 4th in blocks at 4.3. Percentage points from 2-point range, they're 10th in the league at 53.9%, pretty much round that off to 54% on the nose. Points per game given up to guards, defensively, points per game given up to guards, they are 3rd. They are pretty good there at 29.7 points per game. And defensively, points per game given up to forwards and centers, they are also 3rd in that category as well at 47.5 points per game. When we move to the other side of the ball, the home team, Chicago, is coming in 7-15. They are 1-4 over the course of their last 5 games, and of course, like I said before, they did lose the 2 games thus far to Seattle this year. They are 7th in the league in scoring at 80.6 points per game. They're 5th in pace, 80.6. So they get 80 possessions, pretty much close to 81 possessions per game. 10th in field goal percentage at 43.3%. 3rd in three-point percentage at 35.7%. They're 8th in rebounding at 32.8 rebounds per game. They are 4th in assists with 20 assists per game. 9th in steals at 6.7 steals per game. 6th in blocks with 4 blocks on average. Percentage points from 2, they are 8th in the league, 55.5% from there, and they are tied for points per game given up to guards. They are tied for 10th with 34.2 points per game, and they are dead last. Chicago, they have dropped all the way to last in points per game given up to forwards and centers, a total of 52.5 points per game. All right. When we look at the matchup, I'm going to be totally honest with you. This is going to be fairly easy for me. It's obvious that Chicago is pretty weak with the guards as of late. You know, they're tied, like I said before, 34th in the league. And then, of course, during the course of the last 3 games, I always look back for 3 to 5 games period. And over the last 3 games, they have given up 54 points per game to guards. So that's an increase of almost 6.5 more points than what they averaged during the course of the year. So I mean, all favors that you should definitely play Seattle guards in this matchup here, and Wells, you should. I'm not on Courtney Vandersloot. I think she's a little high, so I'm just not going to bother even discussing her. I mean, I think she's a fine player, but I think at 7,800, I'll pass on her tomorrow. Seattle, again, like I said, they are third in the league in defending guards, so they're very, very tough. And Vandersloot hasn't had a major big game against Seattle, but Sue Bird may be someone. You got Jewel Lloyd and Sue Bird against Seattle, against Chicago would not be bad. Jewel Lloyd a little pricey. I don't think I'm going to be on Jewel Lloyd, but I still think that she's still a decent play. 7,600. You pretty much need 37 from her. She put up a 40 spot in the last game. She has 40-point upset, as you can see that. Been a little bit shaky. She is getting the minutes. 27 to as much as 38 minutes over the course of the last 4 or 5 games, but she had 2 15-point games here. That's pretty scary to me. And she's been up and down, either 28, 25, 30. If she is at least near 30 on a regular basis, I would probably say, yeah, at 7,600, I would take a stab at her. She is in a favorable game, a game that she could definitely dominate and really put up some massive numbers, but I'd rather not play her tomorrow. Sue Bird, out of the two, I probably would prefer more so. I mean, you'll save $800 if you go with Sue Bird. And Sue Bird, at the moment, she is averaging 24. You need 6,800. You need pretty much 34 from her. She's pretty much bringing in 24, so that's like 10 more than above average. 10 and 27. But what I like to see, if the long as she's near 24 or better, I'll be happy with that. She's done that once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7, 8 out of the last 10 games. She's at 24 or better fantasy points per game. And that's fine with me. At that price, I'll be willing to take a stab at her. On top of that, she has had, let's see how she did here against Chicago. She did have a 17 spot here against Chicago in this game. And the previous game, the very first game, she put a 20 spot in 33 minutes. Not massive numbers, but she has been playing a lot better since the beginning of the year, and that was early on in the year when these matchups took place. She has been playing a little bit better over the course of the last 8, 9, 10 games. So I would say she's definitely someone you can consider. I am actually favoring the Chicago players. I think I just like to pay a little bit more down at guard, especially in this 2-game slate. I think there's better opportunities. And Diamond DeShields and Gabby Williams are definitely good plays for tomorrow, and I personally feel that I will definitely play one or both in some of my lineups, just simply because, for one, they're here on FanDuel as guards, but I've been saying it over and over again. These girls have been playing majority of the time the three spot for the Chicago Sky team. Yeah, sometimes they're played together, the 3-4 spot. So in other words, you're basically seeing Diamond DeShields and Gabby Williams mostly going up against the forwards, where they're going to need to be up there against Natasha Howard and Brianna Stewart. So I think that's an advantage for them, for me, as far as, like, you know, they are more athletic, they're younger, they've got good long wingspans, especially Diamond DeShields. So I don't know. I'm just favoring the whole Diamond DeShields, Gabby Williams situation going into this game. 6,600 for Gabby. You need 33 from her, and she's averaging 24. But she did put up, her numbers have not been great, only here in the middle, 25, 29, 26. I like those 3 games there. She's above, but she's above 23 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pretty much 6 out of the last 8 games. And that's enough for me to say to myself that I'll be willing to take a stab at them. Now, the tough thing is that they're playing Seattle, that's fairly tough up front. But remember, that's Seattle playing against guards, okay? And that's the whole idea. The whole thing here is that Diamond DeShields and Gabby Williams are pretty much playing forward. So I rather, and then when you look at Seattle forward-wise, over the course of the last 3 games, even though they're very good, we have Seattle at what, 40? Seattle's at 47.5 points per game given up to forwards and centers, right? But in the last 3 games, that has been upped to 54 points per game. They have been struggling up front over the course of the last 3 or 4 games. So this may be an opportunity for Diamond DeShields or Gabby Williams or both to do very well here. So I say definitely they are in consideration. And Gabby, the first time out, the last game against Seattle, she put up a 30, pretty much a 34 spot in 31 minutes here. 22, 4, 2, 1, and 1, filled up the stat sheet. And then in game 1, she put up 27 in 27 minutes. 19.6 rebounds. She had a fantastic first game. That was only the 4th game of the season. So, I mean, Diamond DeShields to me is definitely in play, all right, at that price. Gabby Williams, I'm not on Allie Quigley, but she could be a possibly good player. I'd rather pay $1,000 less and take a chance with Gabby Williams simply because, again, she's playing more forward. And at the moment, Seattle's been struggling a little bit with the forwards. So I'm hoping that would be a nice play going that route as far as statistically. Okay, so Gabby Williams, 5,225. You need pretty much 25, 26 from her. She's had 21 or better. She averages pretty much 20 a game, but she's here 21 or better in 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say 4, 5 out of the last 7, 8, 9, maybe the last 10 games. Definitely Diamond DeShields' numbers look better, but I still think that she might be a very, very sneaky play there. Now, I don't like the fact she only played 18 minutes here against New York, but if she could get 20 to 24 minutes in this particular matchup, I think she has a shot. And Seattle, the first time around, first game, she put up 12 in 21 minutes, but in game 2, she did put up 24.8, pretty much a 25 spot in 29 minutes with 6 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. So, I think she's in play. I like Diamond DeShields better. I think one of the two is going to have a great game in this matchup. Other than that, that's basically all I like in the guards, to be totally honest with you. Let's move over to forwards, where it's a little bit more interesting. We have here definitely Breanna Stewart. She is in play. Like I said before, Chicago is dead last in defending forwards and centers. And let's see how they've done in the last 3 games. Pretty much in the last 3 games, they've been favorable. They're about the same. Last 3 games, 52.3 points per game. During the course of the season, they've been allowing 52.5. So they have been pretty much average over the last 3 games, and they got to go and battle Breanna Stewart. Breanna Stewart, 8,800. You pretty much need 44 from her, and she's going to get you that. She should be able to get you that in this game. She's done 40. She's been averaging pretty much 43. She's been doing 43 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight games, and then you'll say 6, 7, 8, 9 out of the last 11 games. She's had 42 or better. So, I mean, she's like a shoo-in, especially in a favorable matchup here. Now, the only drawback is if this game gets so out of control and it becomes of a blowout situation, then you may find yourself that Breanna Stewart might not get the 40 or 50. But when she has played Chicago last time out, 35 minutes, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, filled up the stat sheet, 50 fantasy points, and then in the previous game, 41 and 46, pretty much 47, 28, 6, 5, 1, and 1, filled out the stat sheet again. And everybody's got to, you got to remember, this girl is one of the top on this team. Stewart is averaging 22.5 points per game. She's also the top rebounder on the team with 8 rebounds per game, and she's also the second best field goal percentage shooter on the team at 54% from the floor. So, I mean, hands down, she has all indications, and then on top of that, the matchup that she should do well here. So Breanna Stewart, unless she just doesn't play well, that's the only way. And when they need Breanna Stewart, if she plays well enough, the game is over. She's definitely the missing link in this particular matchup. All right, Natasha Howard in play as well. She is pretty solid, 7,400. You pretty much need 37 from her. She's averaging pretty much 30. And if you look at 30, she got it here once, twice, 3 times. Not a whole lot. 4, 5, 5, 6. 6 out of the last 7, 8, 9, 10. 6 out of 10. Okay, so a little bit of a slump in a way here. She did have a 42 spot against LA, which is not a bad team, especially defending forwards and centers. And then we come down here to Chicago. She did put a massive 49 fantasy points in the 3rd game of the season against Chicago, where she played 32 minutes, put up 16, 10, 2, 4, and 2. In the next game, she put up 24, pretty much a 25 spot in 27 minutes with 15 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. definitely filled up the stat sheet. Not a big, massive game there, but she has 40-point upside, and she's facing the worst team right now defending forwards and centers in the league as far as my numbers are concerned. Okay, so Natasha Howard is in play. It depends on you want to pay $1,400 or you want to pay $1,400 less and put that money somewhere else. I am not at all opposed to any one of the two. I definitely, obviously, would rather pay the $1,400 more and just shoot for it all with Breanna Stewart. That's what I recommend. She's probably going to be highly owned in this matchup. She's the best center. But hey, you know what? If you at least with that front crowd, you'll be all right. Basically, it'll be the last player or two on your lineup that's going to get you over the hump, even if Breanna Stewart is, definitely chalky. All right. Stephanie Dawson, I think she's a play. I think she is 5,600. I mean, that's considered fairly cheap for her. You need 20. She's averaging 22 at 5,600. You need about 27. She did 27 and 28 in the last two games, and she has 32, 37-point upside. Did she play? She did play Seattle the first game, 31 minutes, did only have an 18-point game, and then she did not make the second game. That's when she was injured. So Stephanie Dawson at 5,600, I think just because of the price and that she's capable of getting you 30, 35, I think she's not a bad play here. All right. And Seattle, let's see. Seattle, as of late, I said Seattle is third in the league in allowing 47.5 points per game to forwards and centers, but, and it's a big but, they, in the last 3 games, have allowed 54 points per game to forwards and centers. That's 7 more, pretty much 7.5 more points than on the average for the season. So they definitely have had their struggles a little bit against forwards. They did play against one good forward. They're not facing anybody massively big here, but Stephanie Dawson with maybe Cheyenne Parker could possibly get it done. Alicia Clark, Miss Clark is in play, 5,500. You need about 27. And she's averaging pretty much 17.5. And, you're looking to see if she's got 27 in her. And she's close to it. She's definitely smashing 17.5 fantasy points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the last 7 games, she's had more than 17 fantasy points. And the minutes have just been crazy. 23, 22, 29, 33, 38, and then bam, 31. So she's been at pretty much 31 through 38 over the course of the last 3 games. And she's in a favorable matchup again, facing a weak team up front in defending forwards and centers. And they're going to have their hands full with Stewart and Howard, so that may open the doors for her on the wing to get busy. All right? And Miss Clark is not too shabby. All right? Miss Clark on this team, field goal percentage, she is 50% from the floor. Okay? That's one area that she's in. And she's also a 33% three-point shooter, which is not extremely high, but it's definitely respectable. Next on the list here, Cheyenne Park is definitely in play for me as well, 5,400. I definitely do like her here a lot. They definitely need somebody to definitely go up there and play hard against these 2 big girls, and she's going to have to be the one to get it done. She's been averaging 22.5, 5,004. You need pretty much 26. She got 24, almost 25 here, almost a 24 here, 33 here. She definitely has 32 to as high as 45 plus 45-point upside. And in the games against Seattle, she had a 23 here, 22 spot here in 23 minutes in game 1, and in game 2 she put up a 33 spot in 20 minutes, putting in 10 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. And that's what she does well. She definitely defends fairly well, and she is capable of scoring, especially up close under the boards. So I like Cheyenne Parker here. Other than that, that is basically it for this game, guys. I am not on anybody here on the lower half. None. Let's go over to Indiana versus Minnesota. I do not have no implied totals for this game. But these teams have played each other 2 times already this year, and they split 1 game apiece, both of them beating up on each other on each other's floor. Indiana's coming in 2-20, and out of those 2 wins, they have 1 against Minnesota, which is a shock. They are also coming into this game really playing poorly. In their last 5 games, they're 1-4, and they're 1-2 on the road. Minnesota is 12-10, and in their last 5 games, they're 2-3. They've been playing under 500 ball over the last 5 games, and they're 1-2 with a losing record in 3 games at home during the course of those 5 games. But coming in, they're 11th in points at 78.7 points per game. They're 9th in pace at 79 possessions per game. They are 6th in field goal percentage at 44.4%. They are 8th in three-point percentage at 34.8%. They're 4th in rebounding at 36 rebounds per game. They're 6th in assists at 19.6 assists per game. 7th in steals at 6.9 steals per game. 11th in blocks, 2.6 a game. Percentage points from 2, they are 3rd in the league, shooting 61.7, pretty much 62% from 2-point range. They're 8th in points per game given up to guards in the defensive side, giving up 32.9 points per game, pretty much 33 points per game to guards. And they are 1st in defending against forwards and centers, only coughing up 40.4 points per game. So they're definitely tough up front with Miss Moore and Miss Fowles. On the other side of the ball, Indiana, like I said, they are 2-22, 1-4 over the course of the last 5 games, and 1-2 on the road. They are last in scoring at 75.6 points per game. They're 9th in pace at 79 possessions per game. They are dead last in field goal percentage at 40.9, pretty much 41%. They are 10th in three-point shooting at 31.6, 10th in rebounding at 32.5 rebounds per game. Dead last in assists with only 15.3 assists per game. They're last in steals at 6.1 steals per game, pretty much even with Minnesota. 10th in blocks at 2.8. Both teams are horrible. They both suck at blocking balls. Percentage points from 2, they are 4th in the league, shooting 60.2% from 2. Defensive side of the ball, they are dead last in defending guards at 38.6 points per game given up to guards, and they are 6th in defending the forwards and centers, or allowing them to score at a 48 points per game clip. We go to the ball game here. We got Erica Wheeler in play first. Erica Wheeler, 5,300. I tell you the truth, I kind of like some of the Indiana guards in this game because, as we all know, Minnesota is not that good in defending guards, and neither is Indiana, so something's got to give. Indiana is worse at giving up points to guards than Minnesota is, but I think that they got better players. Now, granted, Victoria Vivians is here in the guard spot, but she does not play guard. She plays mostly small forward for Indiana, so that's another player that we have to always remember. If you choose her, she is basically playing the 3 spot, and she's basically your 5th forward in your lineup. So that's something to consider always. She's been struggling as of late, but Erica Wheeler and Tiffany Mitchell, for me, are both in play. I kind of like Erica Wheeler. She's here at, what we got here is price. 5,320, need about 26, 27. And, you know, she hasn't gotten to 26, 27. So then you say to yourself, all right, she's a little overpriced, but let's see if she's at least getting near her average or better. And she's at 18.8, so pretty much 19. And she's had 19 in 1, 2 out of the last 3. And she's had 19 a few times down here, but very sporadically, not a whole lot. 24 here. So I would say 3 times out of the last 7 or 8 games. But in the last 2 games, I like the fact that in the last few games, she's playing 21, 24, and 23 minutes, and she's taking some shots. 6, 4, 4 here, 15.8 fantasy points, 20 here, and 35. So I just knowing that Minnesota is not that good, they're 8th in defending guards, allowing almost 33 points per game. Some points are going to be turned up today, and they're going to be given up, and I think Erica Wheeler is going to have some of those. All right, so Erica Wheeler, I think, is definitely someone to consider. Tiffany Mitchell is probably maybe even a better play at $200 cheaper. 5,100, you need 25, and she's averaging pretty much 18. But she's been averaging a little bit higher than 18 over the course of 4 or 5 games. She has a 20 spot here, 31 and 25, 22 and 27 over the last 2 games. Been scoring the rock really well, 12 and 17 points respectively in the last 2 games. And that's 3 out of the last 5 games that she's had at least 20 or better, and that's above her fantasy points per game average. So even though her price is for about 25 fantasy points, she's at least accomplished that over the last 2 games. So she's at least meeting that price. So I like Tiffany Mitchell here, and she, so definitely she's in play. Erica Wheeler is in play. Pick or choose whoever you want. I think I'm leaning more towards Tiffany Mitchell. Victoria Vivians is in play, 5,000. She needs 25. I'm not thinking about playing her because she's definitely been struggling, but she has the GPP upside that she's capable of getting you 40. So if you wanted to take a second look at her, I will be taking a second look at her prior to game time tomorrow and make a final decision. But I know I'm going to have an Indiana player in most of my lineups. I'm leaning towards Tiffany Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell, I'm not on. I'm not on Augustus. Maybe Lindsay Whalen might be a little sneaky play. She has been playing a little bit better, 4,300. I'm not a big fan of Lindsay Whalen. I haven't even taken her in one of my lineups all year long. But she may be someone sneakily here considering how poorly Indiana is in giving up points to guards. That maybe. The thing is that Minnesota doesn't have an explosive guard. When Indiana has given up those points, these are some very good, decent guards. And Minnesota doesn't have that. I think the only one that I really like from Minnesota as a guard is Danielle Robinson. And Danielle Robinson hasn't been playing well as of late either. But 21 and 27 for Lindsay Whalen. She may be a nice little sneaky play here. At 4,300, you need 20, pretty much 21. And that's 6 points above her average. But if she's putting 15 or better, she's done it once, twice, 3 times. 4 times over the last 5 games, she's been at 16 or better. And she has had a 34, pretty much a 35-point game here against Vegas, which, Vegas is not the worst defending guard team in defending guards. And she just happened to just have a great shooting game. I saw this game. She was hitting everything, threes, everything from the perimeter she was hitting. She just had one of those good, stroke games. So that's someone to consider. Augustus, I'm not on. Come down a little lower. Maybe Danielle Robinson. I'm not on her tomorrow. Cappy, Pondexter, she's moving up and up and up, and her price is still the same. So obviously she's going to be a little chalky, but she's a good play. 3,600. You only need 15, 16, and she's been doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 16 or better in 4 out of the last 5 games. So that's like a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer to at least take a look at her. I'm not on anybody else. We go to the forwards. On the forwards here is very, very simple, man. Fouls, Moore, Achanwa, I definitely am interested in. And then Fagbenley. Fagbenley will probably be someone I would consider as well. So we go over here to fouls. 8,000. Sylvia Fowles, 8,500. You need 43. She's averaging 38. And as long as she's near 38, she hasn't been really consistently good. The 3 out of the last 4 games has been 31 or less. She only had a 141-point game over the last 4 games. Well, actually, in the last 5 games, she's had a 40-plus game twice. But she's in a very good matchup here. Indiana has been struggling. Like I said, Indiana in the last 3 games, Indiana's been averaging, I gave you this at the beginning of the video, 48 points per game. They were allowing 2 forwards and centers, and they have slipped. At one time, they were second best in the league. They have dropped to 6th in the league in points allowed to forwards and centers. And now, over the course of the last 3 games, especially as poorly as they played, they have been playing poorly up front because that has ballooned from 48 to 57.6. That's nearly 10 more additional points they've given up to the front court players. So Sylvia Fowles or Maya Moore or both are going to have a massive game tomorrow. I keep saying tomorrow because it's the middle of the night. I apologize. A massive game later on today, this afternoon. So I am definitely on either some Sylvia or Maya Moore for sure. That's a no-brainer. Maya Moore is in play as well. 8,000. You need 40. All right. She's been averaging 32 on the season, and she's been at 32 2 out of the last 3 games. She had a little struggle part here, 1, 2, 3 games without getting in the 30s. But as you can see, she's been pretty steady before that. From here all the way through here, that's a total of 6, 7 games. She was at least 34, 35 points to as high as 47 fantasy points. So she's capable. She's a 40-point upside. She's facing a team that, let's see, she did play twice. What we got here? She put a 40 spot in the last game against them. Let me find it right here. Okay, passed it. Indiana, 32 minutes, 19, 9, 4, and 2. 39, pretty much a 40 spot against them in the last game. The previous one before that did play 32 minutes as well, but did not play well. That's the game they lost, which was a shock at home. That must have been another poor shooting night. Remember, she had a very poor shooting night against Connecticut. She killed me the other day. I had her in about 4 of my lineups, and she murdered me. But I still love her. I still got love for her. I'm not she's not dead to me, so to speak, just yet in my lineups like I have done with some of my NBA players. She is someone that I can still count on. I think she'll bounce back, and I think this game is the game. Maya Moore or Sylvia Fowles are definitely going to get busy. I'm not on Candice Dupree. She's not, 6,400. You really only need 31, 32, and she's not getting there, as often. And this is going to be a tough matchup for her. But Natalie has had Natalie could be a very, very sneaky little play here for Indiana. 6,000, you need pretty much 30. And she hasn't hit 30 in quite a while, but she had a 38 spot here against Minnesota. All right. And then prior to that, the game before that, she had a 23 spot here in the last game. And then the one before that, she had... And the one before that, And the one before that, she had 38. So she's actually played well against Minnesota. And she's going to need to be up there and give Indiana some sort of hope up front. She's a big girl, and she's capable of hanging in there quite a bit for at least a little while with Miss Sylvia Fowles. So we'll see what I think she's someone to consider. She definitely could be one of those quiet plays, and she's probably not going to be highly owned at all. So definitely someone that you can consider here going into tomorrow. Other than that, Rebecca Bronson still is here out with that thigh injury. So obviously, if there's no news here, I will have some more news prior to lock, and we'll see what happens. But chances are she's not going to play with a thigh injury. I wouldn't want to play her right away myself. So I wouldn't recommend you guys do the same. Cecilia Zandalaseni, she may be someone, Cecilia, to consider. I am more on, obviously, Fag Bentley. Okay, Fag Bentley, 3,400 is probably a better play. She's averaging 17 plus in about 3 out of the last maybe 4 or 5 games, especially since she has been spelling relief for Ms. Brunson. Yeah, as you can see, she's supposed to be averaging 8 per game, but obviously the minutes have been up because of the injury to Brunson. She's getting some of the time on the floor, and she's taking advantage of it. 19 here and 22 in the last 2 games. Against Indiana here, she put a 17 spot in 15 minutes. In the previous game before that, she put 15 and 8. So, I mean, she is definitely someone to consider. 34, you need pretty much 15, and she's been doing 15 or better in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the last 6 games. And especially in the last 3 games where she's getting more of the floor time. So, Fag Bentley is definitely someone to consider. All right? Definitely someone that you should have in your lineups. Other than that, that's basically it, guys. Very short and sweet as far as the players. I know I speak and I give you a lot of information. When we go over, let me go over some of the FPPM plays. In this particular game, Miss Wheeler is a .85 fantasy point per minute projection, and Miss Achanwa 0.85 up front. Minnesota, Sylvia Fowles 1.22 fantasy points per minute. Maya Moore at 1.02. And Fag Bentley is in here at .84 because she's definitely able to do that, at least with the time that she's getting on the floor. We go to the other game, Seattle. And Seattle's, hold on one second. I can give you the FPPM. Yeah, FPPM plays that I have. A lot more over here in this game between Seattle and Chicago. We got Chicago Vandersloot at .94. I'm not on her, but she is definitely given a good fantasy point per minute, and she actually is pretty decent, usually in the high 80s. Diamond DeShields .87. Miss Williams, Gabby Williams at .86. Cheyenne Parker up front at 1.01, more than 1 fantasy point per minute expected for Miss Parker, and Miss Stephanie Dolson at .89. On the other side of the ball, we have Stewart at 1.22 and Natasha Howard at 1.01. The top 2 dogs, with Jewel Lloyd in the backcourt with a .91 fantasy point per minute projection, and Sue Bird at .89. So those are all the plays, guys. I intend to be on an hour before lock tomorrow if I'm able to. I know my little guy is in summer school, and I pick him up around 11:30, I think it is. Yeah, 11:30, 11:35, and these games start at 12. So there's a possibility I might get on around 10:45 or 10 to 11, and maybe just speak to you guys to about 11:25, and then just wrap it up there. So this way I have time to go and get my son. So at least that's what I'm thinking. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. If not, then if anything, then good luck with the games tomorrow. Again, remember the games are early. All right. I wish you guys luck. Hopefully you guys make some money. Hopefully this stuff helps you. If I'm able to get on, I'll do whatever I can to have some other additional information that may help you make decisions. And I'll do the best I can to help you out any way I can. Again, man, I appreciate if you like the video, drop a like. I appreciate it. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, first time here, hey, just, smash that subscribe button and become a part of the DFS Zone community. And I'll definitely would appreciate that. And other than that, man, that's it, man. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.